Morning, welcome to Sacred Enzyme. I'm Stacy. I hope you're doing well today. So I'm coming back on the second video. I have 3 to do today, and the first one I was talking about how we had this inversion, how it started, and it started with Saturn, and Saturn has been flipped. Basically all of the planets have been flipped. There are higher octaves there. There are higher octaves in Venus, and my grandmother is there in Venus. So today we need to talk about bloodlines and codes, because certain families weren't just carrying names or land. They're carrying frequencies, music codes, charisma codes, healing codes, the mojo that lights up a room. Okay, these didn't come from nowhere. They came from the stars. This is why Hollywood people are called stars, because they are created through these programs and they're given star codes. This is why they have the it factor. Okay. And because of that, these bloodlines became targets. They've been woven into programs, inverted, copied, and harvested to build what I call the AIMEE timeline, an artificial mother overlay. And so let's lay it all out here. In the beginning, the family structure wasn't Adam and Eve. It was the Trinity template. 2 males, 1 female. The womb at the center, flanked by protector and consort. That is the 13 code. 1 female, 2 males, okay, equals 3, multiplied by the lunar rhythm. That's why twins show up so often, especially boy-girl twins, because that polarity is closest to the mother's original design, okay? When my twins were born on 5/5/2006, Taurus energy, double 5s, that wasn't random, was the primordial code resurfacing in my twins, because I have the primordial code. My father has the sun codes, my mother has the lunar codes, and I have them both. Okay, so it was showing back up in my twins. It's almost like an initiation for me. The overlay, the M1 timeline, works by flipping the most powerful first. Okay, so Saturn was once a protector planet, the ring keeper, and it was flipped into a prison planet. And you've got allegedly very high ranking individuals that live in the rings of Saturn. For example, I heard through a whistleblower, an SSP whistleblower, that Bob Iger from Disney has a home in the rings of Saturn. Okay. So Venus was Earth's twin flame, the rose of the mother, and that was flipped into glamour and counterfeit beauty. And this is where I think that we have this distortion that's coming through with some of these Nordic lines that have this superiority thing going on. This is where it's from Venus. So the same way that Saturn and Venus were inverted, the bloodlines with strong star codes were also inverted. And then their gifts were hijacked and harvested and copied and put into programs. So some bloodlines carry music codes, and I'm going to call this the Emmer, because the name Emmer is really special in my family. And the reason that I say that is because my grandmother's name was Emma Jane Randolph, and everybody called her Emmer. They didn't call her Emma, they called her Emmer. And then there's a family name that's in our family called Emerson. And there was a man whose last name was Emerson, his name was Bill Emerson. Bill Emerson was connected with a lot of these country music stars like George Jones and a few other ones. And so my dad's sister, my great aunt, her and her husband used to share this big, I think it was a trailer. I mean, my family was all poor. They were all poor. You wouldn't have known they came from any royal family. They didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. Seriously. So they were living in this big trailer, and they lived on one side and he lived on the other, and it was divided into 2 residences. And so there were a lot of times that there were tour buses there, and George Jones would come, and he would bring a lot of these other country music stars from that era. I mean, we're talking about like the 50s and 60s. So this is a long time ago. And they would be there for days on end. But Bill Emerson, there's something that has to do with Emmers and music, and it has to do with these water lines. It has to do with these water lines. They have music ability. My family is full of musicians, okay? Some bloodlines carry music codes. They can change the whole field with a song. Others carry charisma, or what I call mojo codes. I call them mojo. I used to say that my brothers had the Miller mojo because they had charisma about them. It was very infectious, and they were wonderful men. And mojo codes, so you can move nations with presence. That's why families like Randolph, the Stewarts, the Bruce family, the Sinclair, they became central to history. You know, my family's full of musicians. My grandmother's people were self-taught. My cousin, Ron, he handcrafted guitars for legends, folks. And Jefferson himself was known for filling rooms with instruments. Those are the music codes in my family. You know, these gifts come from the stars. They're inherited. They're not learned. King Robert the Bruce's heart was cut out after death. This is another thing that's interesting. Carried abroad by Sir James Douglas and buried at Melrose Abbey. Melrose means rose of honey, rose of the mother. Okay, now there's a whole story that's about Paul McCartney and all of the information that's come out about Paul McCartney passing away in 1966 in an accident on the M1 on a 33-day, or well, he was 33 years old. That's what it was. He was 33 years old. It was completely, and then the road, when you reverse it down, it equals 13, the mileage on the M1 from top to bottom. So there's all kind of stuff that's hidden in there, because come to find out, the replacement Paul McCartney comes from my family. And he has art that he's done. There's a picture where he's looking at an piece of art that he painted, and it has a big red heart on it. And him and the Queen Mother is looking at it. So I was like, oh boy, is that really telling? That's really telling, because there's like a silhouette of a woman in the background of this painting. So this is more than medieval chivalry. This is Grail code. The mother's heart removed, safeguarded, hidden, waiting to be remembered. That's what I think was the reason why King Robert wanted his heart taken out. And remember, the Douglases were called the Black Douglases, okay, alongside the Red Randolphs, the White Stewarts and Sinclairs, and the Greens. Let's not forget about the Greens, because I've talked about Marjorie Taylor Greene being a Green. My husband's biological family, they're Greens. 2 of my great aunts, just got a thump from Theo, 2 of my great aunts were married to Greens. So, you know, there's something to the name Green as well. Green, blood, shadow, purity, renewal. The overlay targets these colors because they hold the template. So now let's look at Elon Musk and his AIMEE brood. So Elon was born on the 28th, so he's got a womb cycle code. His children's names tell everything you need to know about the story. He's got a child named Griffin, obviously the Archangel Michael's symbol. We've got Vivian, which means living. We've got Kai, which means ocean, womb of Tiamat. Saxon, which is Mars code or war tribe. Damien, which is healer, subduer. Strider is pathmaker. Azure, skystone. Third eye color, azurite, right? Arcadia, that's the false Eden, folks. Arcadia. We've got a Selden, Lycurgus. This is a wolf lawgiver. Selden Lycurgus. SELDONLYCURGUS. This means wolf lawgiver. Is he trying to hammer down on my family bloodline? Invert it? Probably. Romulus. This would crack me up with Ashley St. Clair. Ashley St. Clair. The St. Clairs are my family. Wolf, twin, killer of Remus, founder of Rome. And notice, 2 were born on February 28th in back-to-back years. We got the 28 stamped again on his kids. This isn't a family tree. This is a ritual storyboard. Elon's brood is the AIMEE program in flesh. We've got IVF twins, surrogacy, coded names, womb numbers repeating. And then when Ashley St. Clair enters the picture, tied to the Sinclair Bruce Stewart family line, my own Randolph line, the Grail bloodlines are pulled straight into this counterfeit BS. Just like what the royal family does with Princess Diana, with Kate Middleton. It's the same thing. This is my family. This is my codes. So let's talk about Amber. Amber is a Taurus. She was born April 22nd. 22nd, folks. Double master numbers. I mean, come on. April 22nd, 1986. She had a daughter via surrogacy in 2021. And then she just had boy-girl twins. Did you know that Amber Heard just had boy-girl twins? And she gave them both feminine names, which goes to show you an inversion, okay? This is how the overlay works. That mirrors me. I had boy-girl twins on 5/5/2006, also Taurus, but the streams are different. Mine came through as organic mother's line. Hers comes through the AIMEE Tech womb. So you see how the AIMEE Tech womb works? Is that it's creating false constructs with children born artificially, okay, through genetic mapping. All right. So this is how the overlay works. It copies, it counterfeits, but it can't create, okay? This is why it needs these original codes to be put back in over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, okay? It produces shadow of the true. So whistleblowers have said that Obama was conceived through IVF with Pharaoh Akhenaten's DNA and that Michelle from Akhenaten's mother. So this would make them both AIMEE constructs, false savior and false womb. Because in my memory, that was when coding was supposed to be brought back. Nefertiti and her sister wives, they were all bringing priestess lineage codes back. And this was a timeline that I was existing in. And I'm not going to go into like what characters I was and all this, because none of this is important. All that does is it's just irritating to have people just say, oh, I was this and I thought I was this and this and that. And, you know, I don't need all that into this conversation because it's irrelevant at this point. But at the time, it was about bringing back divine feminine codes. And there was a hijacking that took place by one of the sister wives' father. And I think his name was like it was 2 letters. Anyway, he was working with the black sun coding. And so everything just got turned upside down. So this would be a false savior and a false womb. And so have you ever noticed that I have never seen, I was looking too when I was doing this research. I was looking that I could not find one single picture of Michelle Obama pregnant. Yet there's 2 daughters, kind of just like Emmanuel Macron's wife. You can't find any pictures of them having any children. So whether it's true or not, the pattern is the same. Children reassigned into bloodline families to project a narrative. And instead of the primordial twin code, boy-girl, 2 males and 1 female, we see 2 girls. That's the lavender overlay again. So the Bush family. George W. Bush is the only U.S. president with biological twins. His daughters, Barbara and Jenna, were born in 1981. Again, girl-girl twins, the lavender version of the primordial template. And then there's a rumor that Barbara Bush, George's mother, was the illegitimate daughter of Aleister Crowley. It's never been proven, but the symbolism speaks volumes. The presidential bloodline tied to Crowleyan occult coding. So with the Bushes, just like the Obamas, we see twins, we see inversion, we see occult entanglement. It's the same program in play over and over again, over and over again. So let's talk about this Billy Shears and the Paul is dead thing. So we come to the Beatles. The legend says that Paul McCartney died in 1966 and was replaced by a man named Billy Shears. Billy is William, which is a Grail bloodline name. Shears means to cut. Billy Shears, the Grail line cut and replaced. It's all in the names. The primordial mother told me everything is in the names, and she's not wrong. She's not wrong. It's the same story again. The true singer replaced, just like the mother's womb was cut and replaced. And remember the photo of the queen with Paul that I was talking about? Likely Billy's gazing at a painting of a huge red heart with a silhouette of a woman behind it. Well, that's just a revealing of the overlay that he's assigned to, a counterfeit king and queen gazing at the mother's heart while the woman herself is only a shadow in the background. So, I mean, all this shows why these families are targeted. It's not for politics alone, but for codes from the stars. I mean, they've got music codes, they got moho codes, they got healing codes, fertility codes, frequency codes, ability to pass through stargates, ability to see into the future. You have precognition. I've always had precognition. So the overlay harvests these codes and flips them. This is why families like mine, the Randolphs, Bruce Stewart, Sinclairs, the McDuffs, I mean, my family goes back so far. On my dad's side, his family line goes all the way back to the McDuff clan, which is the oldest clan in Ireland or Scotland, and they were like the kingmakers. So, you know, this stuff's been going on a long time. This stuff's been going on for a long, long time. So the overlay harvests these codes and flips them. And so this is why families like mine are pulled into the long game. This is why Elon's children carry archetypal names. This is why Amber mirrors my twins. That's why the Obamas and the Bushes keep repeating twin coding. That's why Paul was replaced by Billy Shears. It's all one story. The mother code's inverted, copied, harvested, displayed, but the real codes still live in us. And they come from the stars. So here's the truth. The long game of the overlay is to counterfeit the mother's template by using bloodlines that already carry the codes. Saturn's been flipped, Venus been flipped, Grail lines flipped, but the original pattern, the Trinity, the twin, the rose, the heart, it's still alive. So now as we name it, we begin to take our codes back. We are. The counterfeit is collapsing when the true is remembered. And so this is why it's important for us to remember this stuff, folks. We have to remember, we have to know the stuff. So these are not repeat offenses. We have to stop making the same mistakes because the toilet gets flushed, okay? If you're not walking on the right side of things, you're getting flushed. This is why everything goes back to the beginning. We go in a circle. We either go into implosion, like I've talked about, it's kind of like a sock turning itself inside out, and we start over, or we can go through the spiral. We can go through the spiral. And when we go into the spiral, we're achieving a state of bliss. And we will be living in higher dimensional spaces, and it will be wonderful. But we have to make a conscious decision and an effort to bring about this timeline again. And so it's requiring some tweaking and everybody to wake up first and us not to make the same mistakes that happened in the past. Okay, we can do it. The stars gave us music, the moho, the heart. Mother gave us the womb. And no program is going to erase that. Not Elon, not Amber, not the Bushes, not the Obamas, not Billy Shears, not even the Pharaohs. The Grail lines are rising again, folks. You're here for a purpose. You're here for a purpose. And it's so much information that is hidden in all of these things. And now the next video I'm going to go into is I'm going to talk about how RSA and these programs and these kids that are transported, how they're actually being moved up and down on these inverted lines that have to do with the primordial mother codes. And when I come back, we're going to go into that. But it's been 18 minutes. Thank you for spending 18 minutes with me and going through this information with me. I know it's a lot, but we need to understand. We need to understand what's coming. And so you guys have to also understand that this Atlas thing, that's this Atlas cosmic body, I don't know what you want to call it. They still haven't figured out what it is. They're calling it like a cosmic body that's supposed to pass by Earth, closest to the Earth, 20th and 29th. You have to remember that there's going to be a lot of stuff happening because October 28th, someone in the public sphere always is sacrificed. Every time. It was the guy from Friends was on my birthday last year on the 28th. Before that, somebody else. I mean, it's always on the 28th something happens, without a doubt. So on the 28th, there will be some kind of major event that's going to happen. And it's going to be a last-ditch attempt to keep a stranglehold on the hologram. Because on the 28th, some heavy-duty primordial mother codes are coming in. That is the thinnest between the veils, between 3D and 5D, is October 28th. This is why I was born on October 28th. And I have these lines because I'm connected to the primordial mother. All right, so we're going to talk about all of these corridors and how all of these highways and things that they use to route children and to do their little things, how they are all tied in to keeping this inversion alive. And so we'll go through that when we get back. We're living in the past, present, and the future. all at the same time. So let's make our future and our present the best it can be. Thanks for watching Sacred Enzyme. I hope to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.